Captain Yoon loved his job flying the merchant ship Soul's Pride through space. He had been trading with aliens for 5 years now, and every trip brought new wonders. The blue planet Earth was getting smaller behind his ship as he headed toward the Centauri system. His cargo hold was full of human art music and books that alien buyers loved to collect. The bridge was quiet, except for the hum of engines. Yoon was reading reports about successful trade missions when his communication screen suddenly turned on. Ambassador Lee appeared on the screen and she looked very worried. Yoon could see the stress lines on her face and knew something bad was happening. Ambassador Lee spoke quickly. "Captain Yoon, we have a serious problem. 3 of our colonies stopped sending messages this week. The colonies at Vega Prime, New Tokyo, and Haven Station all went silent at the same time. The council says they are investigating, but something feels wrong about this." Yoon felt his stomach drop. Those were peaceful farming colonies with families and children. What could make 3 colonies go silent at once? He asked Lee what the council ships found when they investigated, but her answer made him more worried. "The council ships always arrive after the colonies go dark," she said. "They never find any survivors or clues about what happened." Back on Earth, Admiral Park was studying the same reports in his military headquarters. Park had been a soldier for 30 years and fought in many battles before humans joined the Galactic Council. His experience told him this was not normal. Pirates would take prisoners or demand money. Natural disasters would leave some trace or warning. His assistant Kim brought more bad news. "Sir, the Council has denied our request to send human ships to investigate. They say it might interfere with their investigation." Park slammed his fist on the desk. This made no sense. Why would allies refuse help during a crisis unless they had something to hide? Dr. Han worked in her secret laboratory, analyzing the few radio signals that escaped from the destroyed colonies. She was one of Earth's best scientists, and her job was to study alien technology for possible threats. What she found in the data made her hands shake. The weapons used against the colonies were designed specifically to fight human defenses. Someone had studied human military systems very carefully. The energy signatures matched no known alien weapons in the Council database, but they perfectly countered every human shield and armor type. Dr. Han realized with growing horror that someone had been planning to attack humans for a long time. They knew exactly how to kill humans efficiently. Captain Yoon was approaching the Vega system for a routine trade stop when his sensors detected something terrible. Massive explosions were happening on Vega Prime. The farming colony was under attack by unmarked ships that fired strange purple energy beams. Yoon tried to contact the colony, but got only screams and static. He attempted to send a warning message to Earth, but his communications were being jammed. The jamming signal was coming from Council frequencies, which made no sense. Why would the Council block his emergency transmission? Yoon ordered his engineer to boost power to the transmitter, but it was useless. Then Yoon saw something that changed everything. Council ships appeared from hyperspace near the attacking vessels. Instead of fighting the attackers, the Council ships joined them. They began firing on the human colony with the same purple energy weapons. Yoon watched in shock as his trusted alien allies murdered innocent human families. The truth hit Yoon like a physical blow. The Galactic Council was not investigating attacks on human colonies. They were carrying out the attacks the aliens had been pretending to be friends while planning genocide. Yoon realized his own ship was now in deadly danger. As Council vessels turned toward Soul's Pride, his engineer shouted that the Council ships were targeting them with weapons lock. Yoon ordered emergency jump to hyperspace, just as purple energy beams scorched past his hull. The merchant ship, Soul's Pride, barely escaped with damaged engines, and a crew that finally understood the terrible truth. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity. The aliens who shared meals and stories with humans for 20 years were now trying to kill every human in the galaxy. Yoon set course for Earth, knowing he carried the most important message in human history. The Council was not investigating missing colonies, they were creating them as Soul's Pride limped through hyperspace toward home. Yoon wondered how many other colonies were under attack right now. How many human families were dying while trusting their alien neighbors. The peaceful dawn of human space exploration was ending in the darkness of alien betrayal, and Yoon knew that everything would change when he delivered his terrible news to Earth. The galaxy, that seemed full of friends and opportunities just hours ago, was now revealed as a place where humans stood alone against enemies who had planned their destruction for years. The age of human trust and innocence among the stars was over, and the age of human survival was about to begin. Galactic Council, Treachery unleashes humanity's retribution. Armada Part 1, The Peaceful Dawn Captain. Yoon loved his job flying the merchant ship Soul's Pride through space. He had been trading with aliens for 5 years now, and every trip brought new wonders. The blue planet Earth was getting smaller behind his ship as he headed toward the Centauri system. His cargo hold was full of human art music and books that alien buyers loved to collect. The bridge was quiet except for the hum of engines. Yoon was reading reports about successful trade missions when his communication screen suddenly turned on. Ambassador Lee appeared on the screen, and she looked very worried. Yoon could see the stress lines on her face and knew something bad was happening. Ambassador Lee spoke quickly. "Captain Yoon, we have a serious problem. 3 of our colonies stopped sending messages this week. The colonies at Vega Prime, New Tokyo, and Haven Station all went silent at the same time. The council says they are investigating, but something feels wrong about this." Yoon felt his stomach drop. Those were peaceful farming colonies with families and children. What could make 3 colonies go silent at once? He asked Lee what the council ships found when they investigated, but her answer made him more worried. "The council ships always arrive after the colonies go dark," she said. "They never find any survivors or clues about what happened back on Earth." Admiral Park was studying the same reports in his military. Headquarters Park had been a soldier for 30 years and fought in many battles before humans joined the Galactic Council. His experience told him this was not normal. Pirates would take prisoners or demand money. Natural disasters would leave some trace or warning. His assistant Kim brought more bad news. "Sir, the Council has denied our request to send human ships to investigate. They say it might interfere with their investigation." Park slammed his fist on the desk. This made no sense. Why would allies refuse help during a crisis unless they had something to hide? Dr. Han worked in her secret laboratory analyzing the few radio signals that escaped from the destroyed colonies. She was one of Earth's best scientists, and her job was to study alien technology for possible threats. What she found in the data made her hands shake. The weapons used against the colonies were designed specifically to fight human defenses. Someone had studied human military systems very carefully. The energy signatures matched no known alien weapons in the Council database. But they perfectly countered every human shield and armor type. Dr. Han realized with growing horror that someone had been planning to attack humans for a long time. They knew exactly how to kill humans efficiently. Captain Yoon was approaching the Vega system for a routine trade stop when his sensors detected something terrible. Massive explosions were happening on Vega Prime. The farming colony was under attack by unmarked ships that fired strange purple energy beams. Yoon tried to contact the colony, but got only screams and static. He attempted to send a warning message to Earth, but his communications were being jammed. The jamming signal was coming from Council frequencies, which made no sense. Why would the Council block his emergency transmission? Yoon ordered his engineer to boost power to the transmitter, but it was useless. Then Yoon saw something that changed everything. Council ships appeared from hyperspace near the attacking vessels. Instead of fighting the attackers, the Council ships joined them. They began firing on the human colony with the same purple energy weapons. Yoon watched in shock as his trusted alien allies murdered innocent human families. Truth hit Yoon like a physical blow. The Galactic Council was not investigating attacks on human colonies. They were carrying out the attacks. The aliens had been pretending to be friends while planning genocide. Yoon realized his own ship was now in deadly danger as Council vessels turned toward Soul's Pride. His engineer shouted that the Council ships were targeting them with weapons lock. Yoon ordered emergency jump to hyperspace, just as purple energy beams scorched past his hull. The Merchant ship Soul's Pride barely escaped with damaged engines and a crew that finally understood the terrible truth. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity. The aliens who shared meals and stories with humans for 20 years were now trying to kill every human in the galaxy. Yoon set course for Earth knowing he carried the most important message in human history. The Council was not investigating missing colonies. They were creating them. As Soul's Pride limped through hyperspace toward home, Yoon wondered how many other colonies were under attack right now. How many human families were dying while trusting their alien neighbors. The peaceful dawn of human space exploration was ending in the darkness of alien betrayal, and Yoon knew that everything would change when he delivered his terrible news to Earth. The galaxy that seemed full of friends and opportunities just hours ago was now revealed as a place where humans stood alone against enemies who had planned their destruction. For years, the age of human trust and innocence among the stars was over, and the age of human survival was about to begin. Katu. The terrible truth. Emergency alarms screamed across Earth as Captain Yoon's damaged ship arrived in orbit. His report of Council betrayal at Vega spread like fire through human command centers. Within hours, every human leader knew the truth. Their alien allies had become their executioners. Admiral Park stood before the emergency assembly of Earth's government. His weathered face was grim as he explained what military intelligence had discovered. The Galactic Council has been planning this genocide for years, he announced to the shocked leaders. They invited us to join them so they could study our weaknesses, while pretending to be our friends. The evidence was overwhelming. Council records showed secret meetings about the human problem dating back 15 years. Alien scientists had been collecting data on human biology, technology, and military capabilities. Under the cover of cultural exchange, every shared meal, every joint research project, every friendship had been part of a long-term plan to destroy humanity completely. Ambassador Lee's final transmission from Council Station revealed how deep the Yaoi betrayal went. She had hidden cameras in her office that recorded Council members celebrating as reports of destroyed human colonies arrived. The Theta Prime representative was laughing as he said, "The humans breed too quickly and their creativity threatens our established order. Better to remove them now while we can still control the story." Dr. Han presented her analysis of the attacks to the stunned assembly. "The aliens used our own shared technology against us," she explained. "Every defense system we built with Council assistance had hidden weaknesses that their weapons exploited perfectly. The shields we trusted to protect our colonies were designed to fail when hit by specific energy frequencies. The cruelest part was how completely humans had been fooled." Captain Yoon described watching Council ships emerge from hyperspace not to help the colony under attack, but to join the attackers. The same aliens who had eaten dinner with human families last month were now incinerating those families with calculated efficiency. Intelligence reports from across human space painted a picture of systematic slaughter. 12 colonies had been attacked simultaneously, using identical tactics. No warnings were given. No surrender was demanded. The aliens simply arrived and killed every human they found, then destroyed all evidence of the communities that once existed. Their Dr. Han's computers decoded more intercepted Council communications. The aliens had not just planned to kill some humans. They intended to eliminate every human in the galaxy. The attack plan called for the complete sterilization of human space, including Earth itself. 3 massive Council fleets were already moving toward humanity's home world. The scope of the conspiracy shocked even hardened military leaders. Every major alien species in the Council had agreed to genocide. They divided human colonies between them like pieces of a pie, deciding who would get to destroy which worlds. The systematic nature of the planning revealed this was not sudden hatred but cold calculation. Captain Yoon's crew testified about what they saw at Vega. The aliens used new weapons that seemed designed specifically for killing humans efficiently. The purple energy beams destroyed human cellular structure instantly, while leaving alien plant life unharmed. This was not random violence but engineered extermination. The timing of the attacks proved careful coordination. Colonies across hundreds of light years were hit within hours of each other. No human ship had time to escape or warn others. The Council had been tracking every human vessel and settlement, preparing for this moment, when they could strike everywhere at once. As the terrible scope of the betrayal became clear, human leaders realized they faced extinction. The aliens had spent 20 years learning everything about human society, technology, and military capabilities, while humans naively shared all their secrets. The Council knew where every human lived, how they defended themselves, and exactly how to kill them all. The final intercepted message from Council Command contained humanity's death sentence. Earth dies in 7 days. The message read, human infestation will be completely eliminated. All traces of their civilization must be destroyed so no other species learns of our actions. The galaxy will forget humans ever existed. Admiral Park looked at the assembled leaders and spoke the words that would change human history forever. The Council thinks they are fighting helpless victims, he said grimly. They have no idea what humans really are when we stop pretending to be civilized. The age of human mercy is over. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Park placed his hand on a scanner that had not been used for 20 years. The massive steel doors opened with a sound like thunder, revealing humanity's greatest secret. The Prometheus project had been built in the early days of space exploration, when humans still feared what they might find among the stars. The underground facility stretched for miles in every direction, housing weapons and ships that officially did not exist. Park walked through corridors, lined with antimatter warheads, each one capable of destroying a moon. The Council thinks we dismantled our weapons of mass destruction when we joined them, Park told his inner circle. Wheelite engineer Cho had spent his entire career maintaining systems that were hidden from alien inspectors. Disguised as asteroid mining equipment scattered throughout the solar system, were actually weapons platforms more powerful than anything the Council possessed. Now Cho worked frantically to bring them all online. The first platform activated near Jupiter, sending a coded signal that it was ready for war. Then another platform came online near Saturn, followed by dozens more throughout human space. Each one had been camouflaged perfectly for 2 decades, waiting for the day when humanity would need them. Colonel Moon commanded the Shadow Fleet, 1,000 warships that had never appeared on any Council registry. Her pilots were the best humanity had ever produced, trained in secret bases on the dark side of the moon and in hidden facilities among the asteroid belt. They had practiced for this war their entire careers. We knew this day would come. Moon told her squadron leaders. Somewhere in the galaxy, someone would eventually try to kill us all. Our ancestors prepared for that possibility. The Shadow Fleet had been waiting 20 years for enemies to reveal themselves. Now the waiting was over. Dr. Han's true role was finally revealed. She was not just a scientist studying alien technology. She was the head of humanity's biological warfare program. Her laboratories had spent years developing weapons that could target alien DNA while leaving humans unharmed. Every alien species that shared medical data with humans had unknowingly provided samples for these weapons. Han injected the final batch of alien-specific viruses into missile warheads, designed to spread through Council ship ventilation systems. The aliens studied our biology for 20 years, she said coldly. But we studied theirs, right back, and now their own biology will destroy them. The most shocking revelation came from Admiral Park himself. The human colonies that were attacked had not been completely destroyed. Hidden evacuation protocols known only to the highest military command had saved nearly 1 million people. They were scattered across secret bases throughout the galaxy, armed and waiting for orders. The Council thought they had killed most of humanity's population. Instead, they had created an army of survivors, with nothing left to lose and everything to avenge. Each survivor had watched their friends and families murdered by aliens they trusted. Now they wanted blood weapons manufacturing facilities that had been disguised as research stations for 20 years began producing armaments at maximum capacity. Shipyards hidden in remote star systems launched new vessels every day. The industrial capacity that aliens thought was used for peaceful trade goods was actually humanity's war machine captain. Yoon was given command of a destroyer fresh from the secret shipyards. His merchant crew was replaced with survivors from Vega, who had escaped the massacre in hidden emergency pods. They painted the names of everyone who died on their ship's hull. Each name was a promise of vengeance waiting to be fulfilled. As Earth's true military might revealed itself, the scale of human deception became clear. For 20 years, humans had played the role of naive, peaceful explorers, while secretly preparing. For galactic war, they had lied to their alien friends about their capabilities while studying alien weaknesses with scientific precision. The Council had made one critical error. They believed their own propaganda about human nature. Humans were not the gentle artists and farmers the aliens thought they were. Humans were the apex predators of Earth, who had survived every extinction event their planet could produce. Now they would show the galaxy what apex predators do when their families. Our threatened Admiral Park stood on the Bridge of Vengeance, the most powerful warship humanity had ever built. Around him, the Retribution Armada assembled in Earth. Orbit massive dreadnoughts emerged from camouflaged bases. Stealth cruisers decloaked from their hiding spots. The sky filled with human warships ready for genocide of their own. Today we remind the galaxy why humans survived everything Earth could throw at us. Park announced to his fleet. The aliens thought they were fighting farmers and artists. They are about to learn they declared war on the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Earth's sky turned dark with warships as the Retribution Armada gathered in orbit. Massive dreadnoughts that had been hidden in asteroid fields for decades emerged from camouflage. Sleek destroyers, decloaked from their positions among Jupiter's moons. The largest fleet humanity had ever assembled, prepared to bring justice to their betrayers. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his flagship. Vengeance, watching the display screens show hundreds of human warships taking formation. The ship was a monster of metal and weapons built in secret shipyards that aliens never knew existed. Every weapon system was designed to kill the species that had pretended to be humanity's friends. Today the galaxy learns what happens when you betray humans. Park announced to his fleet commanders, "The Council studied us for 20 years thinking we were weak. They are about to discover that human kindness and human fury are two very different things." Captain Yoon had traded his damaged merchant ship for the destroyer Soul's Revenge. His crew consisted entirely of survivors from the Vega massacre, men and women who had watched their families burned alive by alien weapons. They volunteered for the most dangerous missions because death held no fear for people who had already lost everything. The hull of Soul's Revenge was painted with the names of every person killed at Vega Colony, over 3,000 names covering the ship from bow to stern. Each name represented someone's parent or child or lover murdered by aliens they trusted. Yoon ran his hand over the names before giving the order to launch. Colonel Moon's shadow fleet moved through hyperspace like ghosts in the night. Her pilots had trained their entire lives for this war, learning to fight enemies who did not know they existed. The first Council supply convoy never saw the attack coming. One moment, they were traveling peacefully. The next moment, they were debris floating in space. Moon's ships struck 12 different targets, simultaneously destroying Council ammunition depots and supply lines. The aliens had no defense against enemies who could appear without warning and vanish before reinforcements arrived. Fear began spreading through Council space as their forces realized they were fighting an enemy they could not see or predict. Dr. Han's biological weapons proved devastatingly effective. The first Council fleet to encounter them experienced catastrophic system failures as nanomachines infiltrated their computers. Alien crew members began falling sick from viruses specifically designed to target their biology. Within hours, the entire fleet was dead in space. The aliens had wanted to use humanity's weaknesses against them, Han observed as she prepared the next batch of bioweapons. Now they are dying from their own weaknesses. Every piece of medical data they shared with us, every biological sample they provided, has been turned into a weapon for their destruction. The first major battle occurred at Proxima Station, where the Council had built a fortress to launch their final assault on Earth. Admiral Park's fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect battle formation, their weapons already charged and targeting systems locked on two alien positions. The Council defenders expected to fight desperate humans making a last stand before extinction. Instead, they faced the disciplined fury of humanity's true military might. Human ships moved with precision that showed decades of secret training. Their weapons fired with accuracy that proved years of hidden preparation. The battle lasted 6 hours. Council defenses that had been built to withstand any known human weapon crumbled under the assault of guns the aliens never knew existed. Shields designed to stop human energy beams failed against new types of ammunition created in secret laboratories. When the battle ended, Proxima Station was nothing but floating debris, and the galaxy knew that humanity was not dying quietly. The Council had awakened something terrible in the depths of space, something that had been waiting patiently for 20 years to reveal its true nature. News of Proxima's destruction spread panic through Council space. The aliens began to realize they had made a catastrophic error in judgment. Humans were not the peaceful farmers and artists they appeared to be. They were apex predators who had been pretending to be domesticated. Captain Yoon led the assault on a Council communications hub, destroying the facility that had been used to coordinate attacks on human colonies. As his weapons reduced the alien base to plasma, he whispered the names of Vega's children, who would never grow up because of Council treachery. The Retribution Armada split into dozens of strike forces, each targeting key Council positions simultaneously. Human ships appeared without warning in systems the aliens thought were safe. The Council's military command began to understand they were not fighting a desperate defense but a carefully planned campaign of extermination. Admiral Park's voice echoed across every Council frequency, carrying a message that chilled alien leaders to their cores. "You wanted to judge whether humanity deserved to exist," he announced. "Now we will judge you. The age of Council dominance in this galaxy is over." Colonel Moon's pilots became legends of terror among alien forces. Stories spread of ghost ships that appeared from nowhere to deliver death and vanished before help could arrive. The Shadow Fleet had become the stuff of alien nightmares, proving that humans could be far more frightening than any monster. The galaxy began to understand that it had not witnessed the destruction of humanity, but its transformation. The Council's betrayal had not eliminated Earth's children, but had instead unleashed their true nature as the most dangerous species among the stars. News of Proxima Station's destruction sent shockwaves through every Council world. The aliens had convinced themselves that humans were primitive, emotional creatures who could be easily manipulated and destroyed. Now their greatest fortress was debris, and their fleets were disappearing into hyperspace, never to return. Admiral Park's voice broadcast across all Council frequencies, carrying a message that made alien leaders lock themselves in bunkers. "You chose to judge whether humanity deserved to exist in this galaxy," he announced coldly. "Now we will judge every one of you. The time for mercy has ended." The Retribution Armada split into dozens of strike forces, each one targeting critical Council worlds simultaneously. The attacks were perfectly coordinated, proving that humans had been planning this war for years while pretending to be naive explorers. Captain Yoon led his destroyer group toward the Theta system, where the genocide had been planned. The Theta system had 3 heavily defended worlds protected by the most advanced alien military technology. The Council believed these planets were impossible for humans to attack. They were wrong. Yoon's ships bypassed every defense the aliens had built, appearing in orbit without warning. Vega, Yoon whispered as his weapons reduced the Council military command to superheated gas. The efficiency was terrifying. Humans had learned alien tactics during 20 years of partnership. Now they used that knowledge to destroy their former allies with surgical precision. Colonel Moon's Shadow Fleet performed the most audacious military operation in galactic history. They penetrated the Council's central command facility and seized control of their communication networks. Every screen in Council space suddenly showed evidence of the genocide conspiracy. The broadcast included recordings of Council leaders laughing as human colonies burned, video of alien scientists designing weapons specifically to kill human children efficiently, documentation of the 20-year plan to eliminate humanity completely. The evidence was undeniable and devastating. Member species who had been kept ignorant of the genocide plan turned against their own leadership. Revolts broke out on dozens of worlds as alien populations realized their governments had committed mass murder without their knowledge. The Council's political unity shattered completely. The humans were innocent. One alien general announced as he surrendered his entire fleet to human forces. "We followed orders to commit genocide against people who trusted us. I cannot serve leaders who would do such evil." The moral authority of the Council collapsed as species after species abandoned the genocide. Dr. Han's research teams worked around the clock developing new weapons as the war expanded. Every captured Council ship provided fresh data, revealing new alien vulnerabilities to exploit. Her laboratories became factories of death, creating viruses that could kill specific alien species while leaving others unharmed. They thought they knew human science from our shared research projects, Han explained while programming another biological weapon, but we kept our most dangerous discoveries secret for exactly this scenario. The aliens had studied human weaknesses for 20 years, but humans had been studying alien weaknesses just as long. The turning point came when the supposedly destroyed human colonies revealed themselves. 1 million people thought dead emerged from hidden bases scattered across the galaxy. They had been waiting in secret for orders to strike, carrying weapons more advanced than anything the Council possessed. The survivors struck simultaneously at hundreds of targets, coordinating their attacks across vast distances of space without any central command. The Council realized with growing horror that humanity had prepared for betrayal from the very beginning. Every handshake, every treaty, every moment of apparent trust had been backed by plans for this exact war. Former human colonies that appeared as dead worlds were actually camouflaged military bases. Armed with the most advanced technology humanity had ever developed, the survivors began systematically destroying Council infrastructure. Every supply depot, every communication relay, every military academy was targeted for elimination. The aliens began to understand the scope of human deception. For 20 years, they had believed they were studying a naive species that shared all its secrets willingly. Instead, they had been observed by apex predators who revealed nothing important while learning everything about their enemies. Captain Yoon found himself accepting the surrender of the same alien commanders who had ordered his ship destroyed at Vega. They knelt before him, begging for mercy that their own people had never shown to human children. Yoon looked at them with eyes as cold as space itself. "You killed millions of innocent people," he told the trembling aliens. "Now you will face human justice. There will be trials and sentences and executions carried out with the same efficiency you used to murder our families." The age of alien immunity is over. Fear spread through Council space as alien leaders realized they were losing the war. Human ships appeared everywhere at once, striking with precision that showed decades of planning. The Council's military forces began deserting rather than face an enemy that seemed to know their every move. The galaxy's balance of power shifted completely in 6 months. The Council that had ruled thousands of worlds for centuries found itself reduced to a few dozen systems surrounded by human fleets. Alien species began competing to surrender first, hoping that cooperation might save them from humanity's wrath. Admiral Park watched the collapse from his command ship, knowing that the war was nearly won. The Council had made the mistake of thinking humans were like themselves, capable of betraying friends. For political advantage, they never understood that humans who trusted deeply also hated completely when that trust was broken. 6 months after the first attack on human colonies, Admiral Park stood on the Bridge of Vengeance above the Council's home world. The planet that had once hosted grand diplomatic meetings now cowered beneath the guns of humanity's retribution. Fleet alien cities went dark as their power grids failed from human cyber attacks. "Surrender now and some of you might survive," Park broadcast to the terrified alien leadership hiding in their bunkers. "Continue fighting and we will finish the extermination. You started against us. The choice is yours, but choose quickly because human patience has limits." The war's end came not through massive final battles, but through the complete collapse of Council-resistant species. After species sued for separate peace as evidence of the planned genocide spread throughout their populations. Alien civilians turned against their own governments, demanding justice for the attempted murder of humanity. Captain Yoon found himself presiding over war crimes trials, where the same aliens who had laughed about killing human children now begged for their lives. The Theta Prime representatives who had called humans an infestation knelt in chains before human judges. They pleaded that they were only following orders. "You murdered millions of innocent people," Yoon told them as he read their death sentences. "You planned to kill every human in the galaxy, including babies who had never harmed anyone. Human justice will be swift and final, just like the death you gave to our families." Colonel Moon's pilots had become legends throughout the galaxy. Their shadow fleet was now synonymous with swift retribution against anyone who threatened humanity. Alien children were told stories of human ghost ships that appeared without warning to punish those who committed evil. We never wanted to be feared, Moon told her pilots after the last Council stronghold surrendered. But if fear prevents another genocide, then fear is exactly what we should be. The galaxy needs to remember what happens to species that betray human trust. Durhan's laboratories began the grim work of cataloging the genocide's full scope. 47 human worlds had been attacked with nearly 10 million people murdered in the initial strikes. Her weapons had saved humanity. But the cost in alien lives was equally staggering. They forced us to become killers, Han observed while reviewing casualty reports. The humans who died were teachers and farmers and artists. We survived by becoming something they were not. We became efficient at violence because the alternative was extinction. The galaxy's new order placed humanity at its center, not through conquest but through the hard-earned respect of survivors. Former Council species begged to join the human commonwealth, seeking protection from enemies who might target them. Next, Earth had become the galaxy's guardian. Admiral Park established new laws that would govern interstellar civilization. No species could develop weapons capable of destroying planets. Any attempt at genocide would face immediate human intervention. The galaxy would be policed by the same species it had tried to exterminate. New human colonies were established on worlds the Council had abandoned. Survivors of the attacks became the governors of these settlements, building communities dedicated to ensuring that no species would ever again face extinction at the hands of former allies. The memorial on Earth listed every name of every human killed in the Council's betrayal. Above it stood an inscription that visitors from across the galaxy came to read. They sought to judge us unworthy of existence. Instead, they taught us that mercy must be earned through trustworthiness. Captain Yoon returned to merchant trading, but now his ships carried weapons alongside cargo. His crew consisted of war veterans who had learned that peaceful exploration required the strength to defend it. The galaxy was safer because humans were no longer naive about alien intentions. The Council's betrayal had unleashed not just humanity's Retribution Armada, but their transformation from hopeful young species into the galaxy's most feared protectors. Alien civilizations now understood that humans possessed both the capacity for friendship and the ability to wage total war against those who violated that friendship. Years passed, and new species joining galactic civilization were taught the lesson of the Council Wars. Never betray humanity, because humans remember everything and forgive nothing when their families are murdered. The galaxy had learned that Earth's children were peaceful by choice, not weakness. Admiral Park spent his final years training the next generation of human officers, ensuring they understood both the importance of trust and the necessity of strength. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also dangerous, and humanity would never again be caught unprepared. The human commonwealth grew to encompass hundreds of worlds protected by fleets that aliens feared and respected in equal measure. Earth had become not just humanity's home, but the center of galactic civilization, where species came to seek justice and protection from those who would harm them. Council's greatest mistake had been believing that kindness meant weakness. They learned too late that humans who loved deeply also fought fiercely when their loved ones were threatened. The galaxy was now a place where genocide was impossible, because humanity would never allow it to happen again.